call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Pod at the Palace live, presented by Bet Saracen, Arkansas's #1 sports betting app. Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis here with you for a breaking news edition of the show. It turns out that Dave Van Horn's not the only one that gets to have a little bit of fun around here. We've got movement on the roster front. It's felt imminent for a few days now, and we finally have ourselves an official piggy pop. Arkansas has made its move, earning the commitment of Russian big man Ilia Frolov. Paul Biancardi was the first to put that out there just a few minutes ago. An international prospect who's been playing professionally in Spain, who we've talked about a lot over the course of the last couple weeks. He picks Arkansas over NC State, Penn State, BYU, and several others. Andrew, we have ourselves a Russian Razorback, buddy. What do you make of the latest edition for the Hogs?
I like this one a lot, man. It's been a roller coaster week for European men named Ilia. Big birthday for Ilia Frolov here.
Yes.
Seems like he enjoyed his visit to Fayetteville, and we're happy to have him, man. At this point, we were going to take anybody that could play the five-man, that could play the five spot for Arkansas. And so, honestly, beggars can't be choosers, but I do really like the potential here. A guy that is turning 18 years old today, the question is then going to become, okay, well, is this just some, developmental piece? And obviously, Arkansas's had a lot of those type of guys on the roster here lately. And I think that, weirdly enough, is going to cloud people's vision of what Ilia Frolov is. Not to say that he's not a project, so to speak, that's going to develop over the course of some time. But I think people are going to make the assumption that this is a guy who cannot help right away. And I don't think either one of us view it as that way at all here. Now, how much development can they get done in a short amount of time? Because, again, he is very young. People would be surprised at how much 18 and 2 days versus 18 and 8 months can look like. And so what is this guy going to look like when he first gets to campus? What is he going to look like by Christmas break? What is he going to look like by February? What is he going to look like by the end of his freshman season? I'm excited to find out. I like the offensive versatility. I like having a guy that can shoot the ball. Really, at every spot on this roster, they've got guys that can shoot the ball. I really like that, and I think he's going to fit right in with this roster.
Yeah, I think so too. It's and you're 100% right. Like the rapid development that should take place here is going to be exciting. And I'm curious because it couldn't have been easy to get over here from Russia. It all happened so quick. Yeah, I think it was on Monday we heard, okay, they're going to bring him in for a visit to evaluate him. And then Tuesday he was on campus. And here we are later in the day on Thursday, about that 48-hour window for a visit where he commits. I hope he just packed his bags. Like, don't leave, dude. Just join the team now. Why not? Maybe it'll be a situation where he goes home for a minute and comes back for that second summer session that I think starts right after the 4th of July. But seems like he'll be all set for a good amount of summer practices, the foreign tour that was announced today. So that's all good stuff. But it is crazy, how quickly this is all developed here. And it's like last week we heard Arkansas was in deep with JUCO big man Shah Hall, who came for a visit, and then it was like, hey, but this Russian fella, Ilia Frolov, and things have just been at warp speed since. It's like, okay, visit reported Monday, on campus Tuesday, happy birthday Thursday, you're committed, you're a Razorback. It's funny. It's like efficiency at its finest. How does it take you all summer to get a big man, and then when you do, it's just like boom, 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 and done? I guess that tells me they liked what they saw from the big fella once they got him here. I see some questions about that in the chat, and we'll get to it. But it is interesting, man. I just felt like we've been destined to have a Russian Razorback. It's a long time coming, overdue. Like nearly had Igor Rizov last year. He was the one guy who I've pre-recorded a commitment video for that they wound up not getting since we started this operation. They flirted with another Russian player, Gleb Firsov, for a minute earlier in the year. Now they land Ilia Frolov. If I looked at Hog Stats correctly, I think this is the first Russian-born basketball player for Arkansas. Like they've had a couple from Croatia, Mika on the team now, obviously from Finland, Kareem Rattel from Lebanon. I'm a little surprised at that actually, but you can leave no stones unturned when you're trying to find a big man and you're John Calipari. So I welcome the addition for sure.
We've been joking about how everyone says there's more than one way to skin a cat, which I'm just taking people's word because I have no idea. I've never skinned a cat. I have no idea how many different methods there can be. But when you're building rosters in this day and age, we always have this thing of like, oh, should we just be recruiting high school guys? Yes. Should we be recruiting transfer guys? Yes. Should we be recruiting international guys? Yes. Should you take a look at a JUCO guy? Probably. You know what I mean? You have to be able to identify talent and identify guys that can fit your system and can help you win basketball games in every way, shape, and form. And I am interested to hear, obviously, Finland and Russia, not the same place, not the same situation. Him and Mika are very different situations overall, because Mika, we've known for a while, was going to come over and was going to do something like this. I do like the idea of kind of having them together, because, listen, that's a culture shock. That's a very big thing. And so, you bring someone in from Russia, and he's got to kind of find a way to swim, got to find a way to adjust to not only life in America, but life in college basketball, what it's like in this program. Having someone there to kind of go through that process with him, and someone who seems like he's already hit the ground running and is fitting right in Mika Miernan, which I think is very good for both of those guys. And of course, we've spoken about this a lot. Having guys like Cooper Bowser, he's now kind of the vet of the room, which when we first landed Cooper Bowser, we didn't know what his role was going to be, what that's going to look like. I'm excited to see what his leadership looks like playing next to all these younger big men. Paolo Samito, not a ton of college experience. Mika Miernan, Ilia Frolov, no college experience there. How much can those guys develop? That's going to end up being the determining factor in how good this front court can wind up being, is how quickly can you get these young guys acclimated. So all these older, there's not much experience on this Razorback roster, but those guys like Cooper Bowser and like Billy Richmond are going to have to guide these young guys. And I like that, man. And we're investing in young talent. That's what we do.
Very much investing in young talent. That's a great way to put it. Big time upside play here by Arkansas. Like, they elect to go with, I think, the higher ceiling of Frolov, who brings a lot of enticing attributes to the table, has some things to work on, obviously, but he's only going to get better day by day here. And yeah, young talent, like the youth movement continues for Arkansas. And, it's like, what do we know about Frolov? When you think about prospects on the EYBL, for example, who play up, like, a dude should be a 16U, but he's playing up with the 17Us. That's sort of what we have here with Frolov. He's 18 years old today. He's already been playing with the U18 team at Real Madrid, which is a great program, by the way, that's produced several NBA guys, but he's also spent a lot of time with their U22. So he's used to playing with older players. If you go look around that league, there's several guys who play in that league. It's not as good as the SEC, but they have several guys in that league that he's competed against who are coming over to play college basketball this year. He has a teammate who's getting ready to sign with UConn. So it's not like he's just over there playing a bunch of cans, and he's been putting up good numbers where he's at. over 13 points, over 7 rebounds per game there for him. We know that one of the better things that he brings to the table is his ability to stretch the floor at 6'11", 225 pounds, which I'm told that he actually might have weighed in a little bit heavier than that. Nothing crazy, but we'll take any poundage we can get at this point. But an intriguing player for sure. How's it going to translate to the SEC when it comes to the athleticism, how much physicality he plays with, how strong he plays? We're not going to know until we get there. But I will say, if Arkansas had the intent of bringing him all the way over here, working him out and evaluating all that before signing him, here we are as his visit wraps up and they took him, they probably felt pretty good about what they saw from that standpoint.
Yeah, and we always try, we do this in the Razorback fan base, but really everybody does it, where we try and draw parallels between past examples. And so again, you bring in guys like Paolo Samito, who was basically the equivalent of a drafted stash, a guy that you were planning on redshirting and developing, and you bring in a guy in Elmer Zafic from overseas, and I think Hog fans are very much going to draw those lines. These are all three very different situations here. And so when you talk about his preparedness for college basketball, his preparedness for facing legitimate competition, he is operating with completely different circumstances than either of those other two guys. Like, this is a very different situation. I also think when you talk about, use the term, a big man that can shoot. I've been covering, as you know, I've been watching the NBA draft for a long time. Like, I love getting into the prospect footage and trying to figure out who's going to be good and what. And you hear a big guy that can shoot, but there's obviously levels to that. Some big guys can maybe step out and knock one down here and there. Some guys are legitimate threats from outside, a la a Zvonimir and Visic. Frolov, man, this dude can really shoot. I think he shot like 85% from the free throw line in his most recent competition here, which, probably not a massive sample size, but it's like, that's a very good indicator of your overall touch. And I'm sure we're going to look at some highlights here in a minute. There's a lot of touch, a lot of offensive skill with this guy. And listen, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to basketball, where I'm all in on the three-point shooting and spacing and offensive versatility at all 5 spots being the best way to create a basketball team, no matter what level you're at. You just watched the New York Knicks were able to beat the best defense in the NBA because they had a big man that could stretch the floor, because they had offensive creation at all 5 spots. Is Arkansas going to be running offense through this dude from the low post? No, not right away, but can he space the floor? Can he bring a little bit of a different skill set that college bigs aren't necessarily used to seeing often? I think there's a lot of value here, and I think the good thing is Arkansas is going to bring him in slowly. He's not going to be playing 28 minutes a game from day one, and he just kind of gets to bite off as much as he can chew as this season goes along, as his skill set develops. And I like the report that you had today about how people that have seen him on campus here lately, he's a little bit bigger than maybe they thought he was in terms of just sheer size. And when you're 18 years old, which he is today, he is 18 years old, he's going to continue to develop and grow a little bit. Not saying he's going to just turn into a 7'4", 300 monster or anything like that, but like, could this dude add legitimately 10 pounds? I think that's very realistic.
I think so too. And I'm very excited about, like Marcus Edwards, the new strength and conditioning coach, being able to set up a program for him and just see where he's at by game time in November, because it's a great program that he's coming from, but the resources are going to be different for him here at Arkansas. He's going to have all the nutrition, available to him. They've got a nutritionist, a team nutritionist. The weight program is going to be different for him. I think he's going to be a twitchier, probably 235 or so by the time the season starts. And that excites me because somebody asked the question on Inside Arkansas Live earlier today, if you would prefer to have a bunch of really good offensive players and coach up defense, or have a bunch of really good defensive players and coach up offense. I say, give me the skill, give me the offense. And right now, the skill for Ilia Frolov is there. Like, he's highly productive statistically, despite not being like a big bruiser or an explosive, crazy above the rim athlete. So if he's cooking on skill and feel right now, the rest could come for the young fellas. So that's what makes me so intrigued about all this. And we've got some highlights. Do we want to look at some highlights of him real quick? I think it's just like a minute or two. But let's check out the new Razorback and what we have here. Feel free to. I don't think there's any volume, so pause it, comment on anything you want to. Look at him. Looks good in there. And this is from December, so it's fairly recent. Here's a dunk for those who said he doesn't do that, but just a nice rim running big right there. Oh, looks a guy off, hits a three. I'll take that. Into the post, and so that's good footwork right there. Gets the guy on his hip and finishes.
There it is.
That just seems to me like the biggest thing that he's going to bring to the table. I like the footwork and everything. I think he's going to be a dude who is going to irritate some of these shot block hungry big men that Arkansas is going to play against, because he's going to hit him with the up fakes and the step throughs. He's probably going to draw a lot of fouls and get to the free throw line, which I think is a good thing. But that three ball, like right there, you leave him unguarded, he's going to burn you. And so it's one way to counter these big physical front courts that Arkansas will see against some of these elite teams is drag those big boys out and make them defend on the perimeter, put them in a bunch of ball screens. And that's where Frolov can really cook. He's not going to be doing a bunch of one-on-one in the post against Ruben Chinyelu or Krivas from Arizona, but can they get out there and get uncomfortable guarding him on the perimeter? And even if they can, that drags that dude out from underneath the rim, and Jordan Smith Jr. is able to get to it a little bit easier.
Well, I'm not saying that Arkansas doesn't have a ton of offensive skill on their roster. They absolutely do. Some guys that can step out and shoot it, some guys that can get downhill and finish at the rim. But I do think you think about all these wings on this roster. Billy Richmond kind of leads the charge there. These are guys that are like almost defense first type of skill sets, at least this stage of their career. Having a guy who can space the floor at the 5 position, which really, Big Z was that a couple of years ago and, was inconsistent in his time there. But like Arkansas really hasn't had that many guys like that who can open things up the way that Frolov should while he's on the floor. Yeah, no, 100%. Just a little bit more here on the clips. There's another three. He is Big Z-ish from three. Now, and they're different players. Obviously, Z is taller. Z, a very, very good shot blocker. That's where you really need Frolov to improve. Now, he averaged like a half block per game with the U22s. I did see during the Adidas Next Gen, he was just a tick under a block per game, so a little bit better there. They're going to need more of that from him. Arkansas's got a bunch of athletes. They have a lot of shot blocking. I'm interested to see how strong he can get. Can he wall up and use that frame to defend the post some? But yeah, listen, I like the complement of skill set that he brings to this team. It's kind of interesting to me because, like Shah Hall, for example, there's a little mid-range pull-up. You love to see it. He's really good, Ilia is, in the pick and roll.
some guys just turn their head. Oh, there he is jumping a passing lane. Is this Trevin Brazil?
Wow.
Another dunk.
Yeah.
He can do it.
Stocks.
Yeah, what do you know, man? So like with Shah Hall, for example, I felt like he was very enticing because he could have helped Arkansas address some areas of weakness. Like he could strengthen a weakness. Frolov, to me, he kind of makes a strength stronger for Arkansas, and that can also be really intriguing here. The thing about with him, how interesting would it be if we just saw like the Hogs Plus stuff, and you got Paolo, who's basically a 7'1" guard. You have Mika, who's basically a 7-foot guard. You could play a guy like Frolov, who's 6'11", 7 foot, whatever, and he can be your 5-man, but like a trail big, a pick and pop big. Arkansas could legitimately play a lot different this year than they have in years past. I think this might be a 5-out basketball team unless Cooper Bowser's out there on the floor, and that's hard to guard. And we talk about spacing and stuff all the time. Having a dude like that is going to be able to open up those lanes like we just talked about for the athletes to really get downhill. I'm very intrigued by what this looks like, and seeing how Mika and Paolo and the forwards are playing right now. I actually think Frolov has a better path to playing time after seeing that stuff from Hogs Plus than I did beforehand. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Like you said, he's not going to come here and play 28 minutes a game, but could he give you 10, 11? In there, I think he absolutely could.
And I think it's one of those things where it's like usually with lineups, you're kind of having to make a decision as a head coach of like, hey, do I want defense in there? Do I want scoring and offensive versatility, which is usually when you go small. And I'm sure Arkansas is going to play a fair amount of small ball. Like they're going to have guys like Abdou Toure and Billy Richmond at the 4. But I do like the premise that you don't have to sacrifice size and length and, ability to kind of guard different guys and different skill sets while also still having that offensive versatility. And so I definitely like the premise of all these front court pieces. I mean, Cooper Bowser is really the only one who's like an actual big, you know what I mean? And even he was, a 4 at the SoCon level. Like he's really the only, like, I guess, traditional center that you have on your roster. And even he's not even really a center. And he's also got a little bit of some offensive skill as well. It's just very interesting. And, I think the big thing is it clears up space for your guards to go and attack, for Jordan Smith Jr. to get downhill. I think that's going to be a dude that just lives in the paint, lives, attacking defenses, getting into the interior, and he's able to kick it out to like 3 or 4 different guys that can knock down some threes. That's huge, man.
Yes, yeah, it absolutely is. Hey, we got to give a shout out to our Pot at the Palace off-season sponsors. We called it portal season, but it quickly evolved into something very, very different because we know that John Calipari's not crazy about that transfer portal thing, but it's been a long off season. We appreciate Blue Ember for being along for the ride the entire time. Awesome barbecue, man. It's as good as it gets out there. And if you're in the state of Arkansas, chances are you're close to one. They've got 6 locations. Fort Smith, where we will be tomorrow for Inside Arkansas Live from noon to 2, by the way. Come hang out with us. Jonesboro, Texarkana, Little Rock, Hot Springs, and Rogers. And if you can't make it out to them, they can make it out to you. They'll cater all your events, weddings, parties. If you're celebrating Ilia Frolov committing to Arkansas, whatever you have going on, hit up your local location today. You see the phone numbers there on your screen. Scan the QR code or visit the website, www.blueembersmokehouse.com. So a couple more things here, and then we'll get to your chats. I think I mentioned this on the podcast recently that, as much as Arkansas is looking for some front court help here in the present, they really need to put themselves in a position to where they aren't having to rely on building out a front court in the portal next year. They're going to wind up being fine here. Arkansas is up front, but there's really no debating at this point that it was kind of a struggle to get here. So to me, looking ahead, getting a high school commitment or 2 is going to be very, very key. Retention is going to be very, very key. With the reports coming from the basketball building, Mika Murnin might very well be like on a 1-year lease here for Arkansas. But, you could have, if the 5-for-5 goes through, you could have Bowser back a year from now. You could have Paolo Samido, who's a redshirt freshman, back a year from now. You could have now Ilia Frolov, who, whatever he gives you this season, great. I love it. I'll take it. But he is kind of a guy who profiles as could be a beast in year 2. And so that really, really excites me. That's less work that Arkansas is going to have to do for the future. And I think that's important as we move forward here. It's fascinating because we know, Arkansas under Cal, they're going to kill it in the high school recruiting. Cal, even in the portal, he does a pretty darn good job of going out and getting the guards that he needs, wings, whatever. It's just the front court transfers that seem to be a little bit iffy for him. If you nail that now between guys who are going to be in your program for more than 1 year and the high school ranks, then we can be a lot less stressed this time of year from now when they get into roster building mode again.
And Davion Thompson could also kind of be in that mold
Absolutely.
of a potential 2-year guy for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, no matter whatever your holes are, you're going to have to figure it out through the transfer portal. And honestly, if someone like Ilia Frolov wants to just be an absolute menace in year one and be a 1-year Razorback, more power to you. We'll figure it out from there. But yeah, I do think you look at this roster, and I mean, I would even throw someone like JJ Andrews into that mix of a guy that looks like, I think he's going to help a lot for Arkansas in year one. He's going to play a good bit as a freshman. Think about what that guy could look like in year two. I think that's very interesting. And so, yeah, more so than ever, of course, a lot of these guys will be, 1-year guys that you hope go on and get drafted like Mika. If Mika's getting drafted in year one, that means very good things for Arkansas this season. So I'm all for that. But I think there are a lot of guys on this roster who do kind of profile in a good way as a multi-year guy. And so, yeah, hopefully this time next year, of course, you'll still want to see Arkansas maybe go out there and add a guy or two in that front court from the portal. But to give yourself less work, I think would be very ideal, especially given how this year's cycle played out.
What do you think his nickname is going to be? Slim Jesus is taken, I'm told. So
yeah, no Slim Jesus.
You said White Russian before we started the show. Tremendous drink, by the way. I don't know if he'd go for that, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Funny story. I was trying to figure. I was looking on because I thought about quoting the tweet with like a little some type of GIF of some sort, and I was trying. There's a song by Key Glock named Russian Cream. And I was looking for a GIF of him saying it. And on Twitter, when I typed in Russian Cream, there were just all these White Russian, like coffee, drink TikTok or GIFs or whatever. And that's all I could find. So I was like, you know what? Maybe that's it. But I don't know. Maybe Russian Cream is it.
Could be. It could be. A lot of people like Russian Boar. Obviously, that fits with him and, the Razorback there. You might like to see a little bit more weight on him before you go that route. But who's to say that he won't be there very soon? So it could be it. We're going to get into your chats. We got to remind you real quick about our partners over at OZK Insurance, an independent insurance agency that's not tied down to one carrier. They're going to shop them all to find the best coverages and price for you. They've got the full service mobile app. You see it on your screen like every day. They've been rocking with us for the entire year too, and we really appreciate them. But you can do a little bit of everything, man. All your policies are under one roof. You can pay your bills, get roadside assistance, file claims, request policy changes, or even get new quotes all from the convenience of your phone. So if you're tired of being stuck with one carrier or chasing down paperwork, just go to ozkinsurance.com or search OZK Insurance in the App Store or Google Play. It's a local agency with national level options, one powerful app. That's OZK Insurance. All right, let's get into the chats and see what we have going on here. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. We've been waiting on this. I told everybody right before we got off Inside Arkansas Live, I was like, I hope that we see you guys again. And it's funny because kind of waited around. We got the news about Arkansas's foreign tour. And I was like, is that the news of the day? Like, are we going to have to wait until tomorrow? Because it's just been a formality waiting on this to get announced. And so I was like, hey, you know what? I need to run to the store. Went down the road to the neighborhood market, grabbed the little basket, put my first item in it. My phone buzzed, and I was like, no way. And then there it is with B and Cardi. So I hopped back in the car. I called you right away. I was like, hey, are you home? You're like, well, we'll be in like 90 seconds.
Rare time where neither of us were home. And John wasn't home either. He was also out celebrating the track championship. Exactly.
But we kept it close, so we got started pretty quick. Let's see. What do we have here? Trey, who's been a member for 11 months. We're almost on the year anniversary, man. That's crazy. Said, hope he gets on campus to enjoy the Bahamas. If I was him, I would be very motivated to do that. I mean, come on. We touched on that briefly. Worst case scenario, he'll be in town in August, around when they get started with school and everything like that. I would imagine they're gonna try to get him in for the second summer session. I need to go look at the academic calendar and see exactly when that starts, but they should be wrapping up the first session fairly soon. I think they get a week, and then you start the next one. That's why they have 8 weeks of summer practices, which, by the way, they get to add 10 full practices to that now, which is cool. But if you get him in here for that and you have him around for a month with the guys before you go out to the Bahamas, that would be huge because there's going to be opportunity for him to play in games down there. And I really hope that works out. Obviously, we kind of just got started with the show here, so haven't been able to reach out to anybody to see the plans. He might just stay here. Have the fam send him all of his all of his stuff,
I mean,
send the big screen to Fayetteville.
Well, what if he had sucked in that workout? Would he have had like a month's worth of clothes and just had to take it back to Russia?
Yeah, I don't know. They'd make him pay to for the check bags and everything.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. From Sharkensaw, appreciate everybody, by the way, for hanging out. We got a bunch of super chats and regular chats that we'll get to. It's good stuff. He says, is it time to make a futures investment on the Hogs? Arkansas sitting at plus 2,000 right now. I'll take those odds.
Maybe not to win the title, but
yeah,
we'll make the Final Four, maybe.
Four-ish. Yeah. And who's to say they're done? Well, I think we got a chat that will address some of that in a few minutes. But yeah, you want to get on it now before those odds drop drastically. But Arkansas is going to be a trendy pick. I think they're the type of team that's going to be a problem for anyone to deal with. But it does seem like, at least as of right now, there's still kind of a very particular archetype of roster build that could give them a lot of trouble. Because if there's one thing they haven't addressed yet, it's still what plagued them last season. I think they've got some more versatile options to be able to counteract that. I think they're going to be better, way better defensively on the perimeter as a team, whatever. I think the effort's going to be better, but I would like to see them maybe make one more move to kind of address the girth in the room, if you will, or the lack thereof. From Derek, he says, happy birthday, Mr. Frolov. Welcome home.
Yeah,
how about that, man? Yeah, good for him. Which, by the way, I should have pulled it up, the tweet, but I'll just read it right now because he gave a quote to Biancardi after his visit. He said, this is from Ilia Frolov. It was an amazing visit. Coach Calipari and the staff made me feel welcome and comfortable. Coach Cal can teach me a lot about the game, and I will do whatever it takes to help him win.
I like that. Well, you better be prepared to do whatever it takes.
Exactly. That's the expectation right here. Shed a little blood, my man. Okay, let's see. Hey, it's Ellie. She says, bro just pulled an Uno reverse and gave us a present for his birthday. Let's go. He did, didn't he?
I do like that. Maybe that's just a Russian tradition. Maybe that's just what they do,
Maybe so. Yeah,
we can celebrate all of his birthdays from here on out, and we'll remember this beautiful day.
Right. Now, let's see. He put his signature on the financial aid agreement, whatever his admissions paperwork, probably a fairly lucrative NIL agreement also. So we're probably well taken care of here on his birthday. I do wonder, it's assuming he's still in town, they gotta, the fellas gotta take him somewhere. He's been hanging out with a bunch of millionaires here, and they could do the whole Dixon thing. They're young men, all right? So they got to go somewhere a little bit different, somewhere a little
cool kids who now follow him on Instagram, by the way, as we learned this morning. I think they got to take him out and do something.
Yeah, take care of you.
It helps that a lot of his teammates are also 18. So
exactly, yeah. What do kids do nowadays? They're gonna go bowling or something? I don't know. Hickory Hog says the big question now: Mika or Frolov? Who wears the Santa suit this year?
I think Mika.
I think this is part of the Mika Murinen image rehabilitation program. You got to send him to SEC Media Days. Yeah, exactly. He's got to be Santa Claus. So far, he's killing it. That is hilarious. Nobody's going to be able to top Santa Elmer.
No.
And Santa Z was also very, very good. So
Elmer had the frame for it. Not that he was a chunky boy, but he was a little bit thicker than these other cats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He looked a little bit more jolly in the midsection. So, not a burner says still in the running for Handy. So Micah Hand Logden or Shah Hall, I assume is who you're talking about there. Arkansas doesn't have to be done. Arkansas is open to adding another player. I think they're going to be very specific and intentional with who that might be. Obviously, it would be in the front court. Obviously, it would be someone who addresses the size, the physicality, and everything like that. If Micah Handlockton did get cleared, could I see Arkansas trying to re-engage there? Yeah, I could. It just I spoke on this on the pod the other day. It just does not seem like that's headed in the right direction. Not a lot of optimism from any side in terms of him getting cleared. So I'm not anticipating that being a thing. It's been pretty well maintained that it was going to be Frolov or Shah Hall. I'm guessing Hall will now commit to NC State. Could be wrong about that, but that seems like where the tea leaves are headed. I would keep an eye out on 2027 big man Caleb Urigu. I think that makes the most sense for Arkansas. They are actively recruiting him. There's Seth who mentioned that for a reclass wouldn't happen until about a month from right now. So like right after Peach Jam. I think that's what Arkansas is going to wind up prioritizing here over anything else. And you want to talk about leaning into the youth movement, you would have then what? So they got their Fab 4 freshmen. Maker coming in is, a developmental guy is a 5th. You have Frolov, who's coming in as a freshman, who will be 6. And then, Davion Thompson. And if they got Origu, would be 2 reclass guys. So that's 8 freshmen. Paolo is a redshirt freshman. It's literally junior Billy, junior Jeremiah Wilkinson, and senior Cooper Bowser, and sophomore Amir Brown.
Origu would definitely solve the shot blocking deficiency that they may or may not have, right?
Yeah, man. He's a big boy. So measuring in now at 6'10", 6'11", 245 pounds, and he's putting up really big numbers. He's an overtime elite guy, by the way. And so if you're wondering, is he going to reclassify? What would that look like? Like overtime elite is no longer a thing as we know it, because that was like the reality TV of high school basketball. All those guys live there. They've got their own league and everything. They haven't shut their doors, but they're transitioning to basically like it's becoming its own league with some of these other prep schools that are out there and everything. And so it's completely changing all that. So a lot of these guys are motivated. You either got to go find another prep school to play at basically, or you can reclassify. And so I think he might be a little bit more motivated to do that. Some people worry about if you get so late in the game, what about the academic requirements? They're like, you're going to be able to do that in short order to meet all the requirements to be able to reclassify and play right away. No disrespect. It's overtime elite. Like if he was at just a standard high school, I'd be like, I don't know, man, maybe he's going to have to test out of some courses. I just have a feeling if he wants to do it, OTE will be able to throw you a bone in the end. I'm just saying.
Once they got Bay Fall eligible right away,
dude,
I no longer, you
can always figure it out.
The facade of academia, affecting college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, honestly. But he is a good player, which, by the way, he was a guy coming into the summer. Origu was, he was like outside he was a 4-star, but right outside the top 100 in all the recruiting services. Has been balling out on the EYBL. He moved up to 43 at ESPN, moved up 35 spots today to number 55 at 24/7, and sounds like he's going to move up substantially at Rivals as well. So he's going to wind up being a consensus top 50 guy, really much on the rise. And the reason a lot of these schools are recruiting him, trying to get him to reclassify now, which if he does reclassify, I would dang near guarantee that he's a Razorback. Was because he's starting to put it all together now. He's looking really, really good. Could help Arkansas in a lot of areas of need. He has schools like Florida who are really trying to encourage him to stay in 2027 because they lose that entire front court, and they're like, yo, you're next, my man. But Cal, because they have struggled to fill out the front court a little bit, you're armed with potential playing time and a role, and I can make you a millionaire today as opposed to a year from now. So there's a lot of good selling points there for him. We'll keep an eye on that over the course of the next month or so here. Heartbroken Hog, he says, I just hope he puts on some weight quickly. And I really do think that he will. It is interesting, though, that people are, I think, pretty hung up on that number. It's like, 225, nope, won't work. It's almost like if you're not 240 or higher, people automatically think you're skin and bones. At 225, he weighs more than all of Arkansas's front court players, unless we believe that Cooper Bowser weighed at 230 when he came to campus. Mm-hmm. Like Mika just weighed in at Hoop Summit. He was 223. Paolo is still listed at 225. He's been on campus for a year. Maker's a skinny dude. It's like he might not be as big as people wanted in the weight department, but he's bigger than most of the guys you currently have.
Also, would you be stunned if, he gets added to that Razorback roster and all of a sudden they list him at 230?
I would list him at dude, he could have showed up and weighed at 218 and I'd list him at 230 on the roster just to get people to shut up.
That kind of feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say list him at 235 and say, this is your goal.
You better be 235 by opening night.
Yeah, don't make a liar out of us. David says, let's play Frolov, Mika, and Paolo all at once, Monstar style. Yeah, 3 7-footers. Sign me up for it. Here's the crazy thing about it. You could. Like you could do that, and offensively it would work better than Pringle, Ewan, and Trevin did, which would be interesting.
Yeah, no more small ball. We're playing tall ball now.
Tall ball. I like that. I like it. From Jackson Stewart says, how is he compared to guys like Big Z and Ewan?
A lot closer to Big Z than he is to Ewan.
Yeah, with Ewan, Ewan obviously much more athletic, just further along from a skill standpoint. Frolov's a better shooter. Frolov is not as athletic, but he tries a lot harder defensively. Just entirely different players. And then with Big Z, he doesn't bring the rim protection that Z does. You see a lot of similarities in the pick and pop and his ability to shoot. I will say I think Frolov is further along from a skill set standpoint than Z was. Like Z was throwing down lobs and blocking shots and hitting threes, but he doesn't have the bag and the post that Frolov does there. And I would say Z's probably a little bit more athletic, but Frolov, I think, might move a little bit better from a lateral movement standpoint.
Yeah, because Big Z was like almost too tall for his own good early in his career, especially.
He was.
He took a while. I do get that vibe from Frolov that like he moves, like he's proportional with his body and like looks a little bit more comfortable. Got a little bit of that shimmy, that dream shake in his bag,
Exactly. That's exactly right. A follow-up from Heartbroken Hog. He says, can we put 10 pounds on him by the start of the season? I remember you saying you thought his frame could hold a lot more weight. And that's one thing that stood out to me about him. He does have the long wingspan, pretty broad shoulders, big old calves on him. He looks like somebody who could carry around 240 or 245 without it getting weird. You can put weight on anybody, but sometimes it looks a little bit weird. Like I don't want Mika to be 250 pounds. That would make a whole lot of sense to me. Could he add strength and a little bit here and there? Sure. But I think Frolov is a guy who could bulk up quite a bit and it wouldn't change his game that much.
Yeah, especially because he's not really an above the rim. I mean, he can't dunk, but he's not like a high flyer,
Yeah, no, exactly.
Whereas Mika, we kind of do need that vertical ability from Mika.
Yeah, no kidding. Hickory Hog says, hopefully our Ilia will not quit on the stool.
To be fair, the other Ilia, his brother quit while he was on the stool. It's a little bit different, Yeah.
If he is getting his ass beat in the paint like Taporia did in the octagon the other day, then we've got bigger issues.
The good thing is we can just sub him out, That was the problem. The other Ilia couldn't get subbed out.
Yes. Papa Dragon says, if teams want to run their offense through their girthy bigs to target Arkansas's front court, good luck keeping them efficient when Frolov and Mika run those dudes ragged out on the perimeter.
3
Amen.
is also more than 2 last I checked.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And I agree with this sentiment. Like if you can fight fire with fire, or you can do it a little bit differently. And so I like Arkansas, the thought process of maybe we'll just run you to death and maybe we'll just force you to play on the perimeter where you're uncomfortable. It's probably going to be what they do. But like we said, hopefully they address the other part of that equation too. And then you're complete as a team at that point if they wind up finishing this thing off with Urugu. 2 more. 1, Peyton, our man, says, seems like Frolov needs a visit to Blue Ember.
That's a fact right there.
Well, let's talk tomorrow because as I understand, he's going to be out there at the Fort Smith location. And let's chat about that a little bit. We got to do it again. We had so much fun with Malik Thomas and Amir Brown. Amir Brown's locked in at this point, so it's going to be Amir and who is the question. I would love to get Ilia Frolov out to Blue Ember.
Amir really is the X factor here. He's going to have to cut whatever deal we have in place for sure.
100%, man. 100%. We got a super chat that came in here last minute. And appreciate that, Sharkensaw. He says, in that Real Madrid scouting video, he reminds me of Tomislav way more than Big Z. This is a good call.
Great. Now, Tomislav is also a little bit thicker than Big Z.
Yeah,
that's a really, really good observation, Sharkensaw, and I agree wholeheartedly. I don't know how many Hog fans have watched Big Z's brother play, but yeah, a little bit more. Like he's not like Tomislav probably plays through the post a little bit more, but potentially Frolov does that. But yeah, you bulk him up a little bit. I see that because Tomislav could step out and shoot it a little bit. Now Big Z was like he was dependent on the 3-point shot for his offense, and just a taller, just a different frame and all that. I really like that.
I like that a lot. Yeah, if Arkansas goes ahead, I could see him maybe he could have that type of impact in year 2. Because if you get the requisite size added onto his frame to complement the way that he plays, could really be onto something there. That's a good call. I like that. I like that a lot. And then final one here, and then we'll wrap it up from JCM on YouTube. Says, can you give us a starting 5? Yes, we absolutely can. Let's see if we can come to a consensus here.
Okay.
Jordan Smith Jr.
Yeah, I got him at the point. Yeah.
Okay. Now what we have to decide, do we like Wilkerson at the 2, or do we like 6 man of the year Wilkerson?
I do love 6 man of the year Wilkerson, but I'm okay to just go ahead and say start him at the 2, just to start things out, and then
okay,
I might change my mind. But Wilkerson, I'm good with him at the 2.
Okay. Billy Richmond at the 3.
Yes.
Okay. Mika at the 4. Maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
Mika's definitely starting. It's just a matter of if you start him at the 4 or 5 to me. But I think, start him at the 4.
Agreed. And so then we just go traditional for now with Cooper at the 5. And then if they get Origu, we could have that debate, but maybe that's the way you start and then shift to more small ball where you're going like Mika Paolo or Frolov Mika or whatever.
Mika with Torre at the 4, those kinds of things. I think there's going to be a lot of room for that.
Do that.
But yeah, I would start Cooper Bowser at the 5, at least from day one. I mean, he's the senior, he's the veteran guy. And then, if one of those guys, like if Frolov gets on campus and all of a sudden it's like, dude, this dude is a freaking, he's a monster. Like we have to, cool, all the power. But I think it's easier to start Cooper and have him be unseated than it is to start, Paolo and then have Cooper realize he can't get it done. And now we're going to throw Cooper in there. So I'm okay with starting the games with Cooper, at least for now.
Yeah, I think that I am too. And yeah, it could be a really fun group. And then if Arkansas throws that lineup out there, then all of a sudden, off the bench, you're thinking about sharpshooter Davion Thompson, once he completes his reclass, Abdu Torre, who very well, he could be on that freshman year Knox path of all of a sudden he's locked into your lineup at some point during the year.
Would he be the guy, if we're not starting Wilkerson, Torre would be the guy that would start at the 2?
I think so.
2 or 3, whichever one you want to call it.
I think so. You kind of have a Swiss Army knife type in JJ Andrews that you could bring in and play in multiple different roles and positions. Paolo, off the bench, bring whatever he's going to bring to the table, which looks like a lot of shot blocking and defense, which was nice to see. And then, Frolov, if you need a pick and pop guy, if they get Origu and you need some more size, Arkansas could have a lot of options they could turn to. It's shaping up to be a team that is going to have that depth that we've really been missing at Arkansas. Because, dude, one guy goes down with an injury, and it's like fundamentally changed the way that Arkansas had to play. And I just hated that. No shortage of options on this team, so I'm excited about it for sure.
Allows you to bench a guy if you don't like what he's doing, which hopefully you don't have to do too much. But, last couple of years, you really couldn't bench anybody.
Yeah, no kidding.
We were all annoyed with Malik Ewan. It's like, what are you going to do? Just only play one front court guy?
Honestly. All right, well, I think we pretty much covered it all, man. So any final thoughts from you, Andrew, before we get out of here on Arkansas's newest addition to the front court, Ilia Frolov?
Yeah, my final thought is I hope that people didn't misconstrue our optimism and our excitement here in this stream as to signal that, we think Ilia Frolov is about to come in and just light the world on fire. But I think we just like the addition and think that it just kind of makes sense for this roster. And honestly, we were just happy for a 5-man. And my goal over the next week, Curtis, because I'm like you, I'm starting to watch all the footage, see the pictures, see the videos, see the interviews and all that. And I just am talking to myself more and more into being excited. I'm going to try in the next week or so to calm myself down and not be too bullish on this basketball team. All that will go out the window if and when we end up in the Bahamas watching them cook.
I was just about to say, as soon as we see them beat the, Bahamas U18 national team,
whenever Canadian college is coming to get that ass whipped, they ain't got nothing for them, man.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Can't wait for that. Well, appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Andrew, appreciate you for hopping on here, man. Always love when we can get together and talk about these happenings. And hey, make sure that you guys tune in. The Palace will be live tomorrow. Keep following the Bombastic as baseball continues to roll through portal season. Make sure you're tapped in with us from Blue Ember Smokehouse in Fort Smith tomorrow for Inside Arkansas Live. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Find us wherever you find our podcast, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere that you listen. We're going to get out of here for now. But we will be back next time something cool happens. For Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas, you guys have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.